no two potters are ever going to make things that really feel exactly the same. And if they do, just, coincidentally, if they do, or if someone's specifically trying to copy something, I mean, that's not really what I'm talking about. But I mean, like, I feel like people who really have developed their forms, their forms end up being part of who they are, almost, in a sense. Like, I make forms that are pretty simple. Like, there's nothing all that complex. It's just a straight-walled mug. But to me, like, it's the feel of the clay, like the thinness of the wall, the shape of the handle, the way that the handle feels in your hand. Like, those are things that I don't really think any other potters would do, because it's not something that they've come to from the process of developing. It's like, this is where I am now because of the past, the road that led up to here. So I was saying before that, even if you took away the designs, like, someone who's familiar with my work could probably hold this and still know, like, oh yeah, this is my favorite mug. Like, they'll just feel it in their hand. Doing craft shows for a living is just, it's like a crazy, crazy way of life. You have to, like, set up your entire shop at the beginning of the day, hope you sell whatever you're trying to sell, and then regardless of that, break everything down, unless you're lucky enough to do a show that's, like, inside and they have security, then set it up the next day if it's a 2-day show, and bring everything out and hope that day goes well and bring it back. And I think, Burlington's a really great place to do that, to be an artist, and it's a great place to find the support that you need to do something like this, because it's not easy to go out on your own, start doing something, and then have people have to buy it from you in order for you to make a living. Like, that's not, it's not something that most sane people do. Looking back on it, it was sort of crazy when I first started, because I was working like 50 hours a week with all my jobs before I even really got to get to my own work. I got another job working for the Tri-Delta sorority house as their house chef. It's kind of like a niche job for the cooking world. It's not really like a typical cooking job. But I've been there for 9 years now, and I'm actually just getting ready to leave that job. I have a week left, and it's so exciting to be at this point in my life now where this is my business and this is what I'm doing, and I know I can support myself, and it's grown enough. Enter Angelica Houston. The first things I ever did were actually like caricatures of myself. And I don't have any, they're all like elsewhere, but I drew myself with a really square head, and my glasses were really square, and I ended up transforming myself into my original robot character. Yeah, it was him and the cats. You know what, I was cat sitting for a friend out in Charlotte, and she had this cat that was a little bit psycho, and I just, he was loosely based on that cat, even though he doesn't really look anything like the cat, but he looked pretty pissed off most of the time, so that was... And then, I started slowly doing other characters. I think the vampires came in pretty quickly. The way that my work develops is like, I'll draw one thing. So I have this guy, and he's a vampire, and I say, okay, what else can I do with him? So I start like costuming them almost, or just doing random different things with them. But I really just like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do until I start drawing. And that's part of what makes it so continuously interesting to me and exciting to me. And let's say I have, there's like a dog that I want to put on here, but I want it to look a little bit different. So I'll just draw right on the table here in water. And if I need to tighten things up or change certain parts of the design, it's really easy to do that, and you don't really have to, I don't have to like waste paper. Not that I would be wasting it, but I can get that same kind of freshness that I'm looking for in my work and just get an idea of what it's going to look like right here before I actually put anything on a mug. And because like once, the way that I do my work is it's a wax that I use. It's this stuff right here. It's kind of like drying. It looks a little gross right now, but once that stuff is on a piece, you can't get it off. It's like permanently on there. It was like that, the log, it just sort of like came to me. Like I was just sitting there, I had a bunch of mugs to glaze, and I was like, I'm just gonna draw a log and maybe somebody will want it, you know? So I just made one and I brought it to the market, and it was the first thing that sold. And it was like just this crazy thing that like I didn't know that was gonna happen. I've had things that I've done like that then they sit around for years and nobody wants them, but for some reason, I mean, people who didn't even know, you know, most people didn't really know what the reference was to, and it's not like that even matters. It doesn't matter. It's just a log, you know? Like there's nothing about that log that makes it specifically the log lady's log, you know, but it just exists in its logness. I mean, I don't have like super lofty goals for it. I want to make products that people fall in love with and want to have as part of their lives, and things that bring people happiness during their day, and things that, you know, when you sit down with that, like your cup of coffee in the morning, and if you have like a really great mug to drink that coffee out of, it makes the experience so much more enjoyable. And it's I think it's that ability to bring small victories into people's lives. It's like, you know, I'm not going to change the world or anything, but like if I can make their coffee drinking experience that much better, or, you know, make them laugh a little, or something like that, I think that I've done my job.